The Senate will come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Baisley, Bridges,
Excused.
Buckner, Senator Buckner, Coleman, Cutter, Danielson,
Excused.
Exum, Fields, Gardner,
Excused.
Janal,
Excused.
Gonzalez, Hanson, Henriksen, Hawkes Lewis,
Excused.
Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Liston,
Excused.
Lundin, Marchman, Michelson Janae, Malika, Senator Malika,
Excused.
Pelton B, Pelton R, Priola, Rich, Roberts, Rodriguez, Simpson, Smallwood, Senator Smallwood, Sullivan, Van Winkle, Will, Winter, Senator Winter, Senator Winter, thank you, Zenzinger, Senator Malika, Mr. President,
Here. Morning roll call is 28 present, 0 absent, 7 excused. We have a quorum. Senator Van Winkle, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal, Senator Exum.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate Journal of February 15th, 2024 be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion.
Exciting news.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it. That motion is adopted.
Mr. ML. Out of order.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for the consideration of moment of personal privilege? Nobody told me that was happening. Who asked for that?
The motion is for the Senate to proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege. Members, let's please keep the volume down and pay our respect to the member in the well for a moment of personal privilege. Mr. Minority Leader.
Mr. President, I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this moment of personal privilege for the edification of the body and the state and quite frankly, all humankind is kind of an extension of the prayer that we heard just a few moments ago. There is a lockdown at the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs campus at this moment, and a homicide investigation. It is unknown, uncertain exactly what's happening, but there are students locked down in fear. They're locked down in fear for their lives. They're locked down in fear of the forces of evil and ignorance and stupidity. I would ask that we all stand together in a moment of silence in rejection of those elements that are broken, that are wrong, that are against the best natures of who we are as people. Mr. President, a moment of silence, please.
The Senate will observe a moment of silence.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, on behalf of those who are in fear in this moment at UCCS in Colorado Springs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senate Services.
February 16, 2024, correctly printed Senate Bill 160, correctly engrossed Senate Bill 99, correctly re-engrossed Senate Bill 6, 1774, 87, and 105, correctly re-revised House Bills 1180, 1181, 1182, 1183, 1184, 1185, 1186, 1187, 1188, 1189, 1190, 1191, 1192, 1193, 1194, 1195, 1196, 1197, 1198, 1199, 1200, 1201, 1202, 1203, 1204, 1205, 1206, 1207, 1208, 1209, 1210, 1211, 1212, 1213, 1214, and 1215.
Committee reports.
February 14, 2024, Committee on Judiciary. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 84 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. Committee on Local, February 15, 2024, Committee on Local Government and Housing. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 89 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation to be placed on the consent calendar. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 138 be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. February 15, 2024, the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Groundwater Commission for a term expiring May 1, 2027, Todd Denning of Keensburg, Colorado, to serve as a representative of the Lost Creek designated groundwater basin and resident agriculturist appointed. Member of the State Board of Land Commissioners effective July 1, 2023 for terms expiring June 30, 2027, Josephine W. Heath of Boulder, Colorado to serve as a representative of public primary or secondary education and as a Democrat reappointed. Christy Marie Scanlon of Keystone, Colorado to serve as a representative of local government and land use planning and as a Democrat reappointed. February 15, 2024, the Committee on State Veterans and Military Affairs has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointments and recommends that the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Board of Commissioners of Veterans Community Living Centers for terms expiring July 1, 2027. Patricia Hammond of Eagle, Colorado to serve as a veteran, a designee of the State Board of Veterans Affairs, and a Democrat appointed. John Freeberg of Rye, Colorado to serve as a veteran and a Republican appointed. Liam McMahon of Denver, Colorado to serve as the State Long-Term Care Ombudsman and a Democrat reappointed. February 15, the Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment and recommends that the appointment be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the Health Insurance Affordability Enterprise Board for a term expiring September 24, 2024, Saskia Young of Westminster, Colorado, a representative of a statewide association of health benefit plans occasioned by the resignation of Amanda Massey of Centennial, Colorado, appointed. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 93 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 15 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. February 15, 2024, Committee on Finance. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 23 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 24 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation, and with a recommendation that it be placed on the consent calendar. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 25 be amended as follows, and as so amended, be referred to the Committee of the Whole with favorable recommendation.
Will the clerk please add Senator Mullica to the roll? Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for the consideration of resolutions.
The motion is to proceed out of order for the consideration of resolutions. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will now proceed out of order. Consideration of resolutions. Will the clerk please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 8?
Senate Joint Resolution 8 by Senators Marchman and Buckner and Representatives Lukens and Wilford concerning funding Title X programs in Colorado.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move Senate Joint Resolution 008.
To the resolution. Senator Marchman, would you like the
I'm sorry,
resolution to
yes.
be read at length?
Will the clerk please read Senate Joint Resolution 8 at length?
Senate Joint Resolution 8, Senators Marchman and Buckner, Representatives Lukens and Wilford, concerning funding Title X programs in Colorado. Whereas enacted in 1970 with strong bipartisan support, Title X of the Federal Public Health Service Act created the National Family Planning Program, the first and only program to provide to millions of Americans nationwide comprehensive reproductive health care services, from blood pressure evaluations and important examinations to free and low-cost contraception and counseling. And whereas, like the bipartisan support that created this essential program, bipartisan support for family planning has made Colorado a leader in reproductive health. And whereas Title X funding helps ensure access to reliable and effective family planning services, including contraception, and helps families and communities throughout the state by allowing Coloradans to choose if, when, and how they start their families. And whereas family planning services reduce rates of unintended pregnancies and maternal and infant mortality and morbidity, providing access to these vital services helps people attain a higher level of education and employment, reducing their economic insecurity, and this access has been linked to better mental and physical health outcomes for children and their families. And whereas in Colorado, black birthing people are 2 times more likely, and American Indian and Alaska Native birthing people are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth or within 1 year postpartum compared to their white counterparts, equitable access to family planning services is essential for these communities in light of the health risks associated with giving birth due to systemic racism and discrimination. And whereas Colorado's family planning program, which is funded by Title X and run by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, also known as CDPHE, provides comprehensive reproductive health care to Coloradans at 80 clinics across the state and prioritizes individuals who are uninsured and have lower incomes. And whereas, according to the Federal Office on Women's Health, teen mothers and their infants are at increased risk for lifelong health problems and social and economic challenges, unquote. Between 2009 and 2020, the birth rate for females in Colorado between the ages of 15 to 19 fell by 64%. This is important progress that Colorado must continue to build on. And whereas since the United States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022 in a landmark case now known as the Dobbs decision, communities across the country are experiencing a significant decrease in access to reproductive health care, including family planning services, and Colorado has stepped up to provide timely care for all who need it. And whereas, however, even before the Dobbs decision, Title X program funding was not where Colorado needed it to be, available funding only allowed healthcare providers across the state to serve fewer than half of the more than 93,000 women in Colorado who CDPHE has estimated need access to its services. And this means that 50,000 Coloradans go without these vital reproductive health services, an estimated $20 million in unmet needs. And whereas the increased need for services in Colorado following the Dobbs decision has placed more strain on our reproductive health care safety net, providers, clinics, and communities statewide are struggling to meet this need, and without additional funding, access to family planning services will continue to be out of reach for many, especially for people of color and those who live in rural areas. And whereas CDPHE estimates that it needs $404 to serve each family planning client, research has shown that this investment in each client saves millions of dollars in federal programs like Medicaid, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, or WIC, and others. And whereas by investing additional funding into this proven program, Colorado can continue to improve maternal and infant health, avoid significant costs to Medicaid, maintain the Title X program's success in decreasing unintended pregnancies, and ensure that Coloradans across the state have access to the care they need. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate of the 74th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that Colorado declares the state's commitment to adequately funding the Title X program in order to provide comprehensive reproductive care to Coloradans across the state and to decrease the number of unintended pregnancies statewide, leading to better health and economic outcomes for our children, families, communities, and state.
Is there any discussion? Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Colorado, Black birthing people are 2 times more likely, and American Indian, Alaskan Native birthing people are 3 times more likely to die during childbirth or within 1 year postpartum compared to their white counterparts. Adequate access to family planning services is particularly essential for those communities considering the risk associated with giving birth due to systemic racism and discrimination. Even before the recent Supreme Court decision, current Title X program funding allowed the program to serve fewer than half of the more than 93,000 women in Colorado CDPHE has estimated need access to its services. This leaves 50,000 Colorado women without services and an estimated $20 million of unmet need. In addition, the increased need for services in Colorado following the Supreme Court decision has placed more strain on our reproductive health care safety net that has been felt by providers, clinics, and communities statewide. And without additional funding, access to family planning services will continue to be out of reach for many, especially for members of BIPOC and rural communities. CDPHE's estimates that it costs $404 to serve each family planning client. Research has shown that investing in family planning services saves millions of dollars across Medicaid, SNAP, WIC, and other programs. Colorado should commit to adequately funding the Title X program in order to provide comprehensive reproductive care to Coloradans across the state and continue to decrease the number of unintended pregnancies in Colorado, leading to better health and economic outcomes for children and families.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to my co-sponsor from Aurora for joining me on this. I also do want to say thank you to the supporters of the title resolution in the gallery, as well as behind the glass. It's Colorado's Children's Campaign, Denver Health, Adams County Health Department, and Colorado Consumer Health Initiative. Thank you for partnering on this. Ensuring access to all reliable and effective family planning services, including contraception, helps families and our community. Access to family planning services reduces rates of unintended pregnancies and maternal and infant mortality and morbidity. Adequate access to contraception allows people to choose if, when, and how they start families. Adequate access to family planning services is correlated with better education and employment attainment and reduces economic insecurity. Adequate access to family planning services has been linked to better mental and physical health outcomes for children and families. Bipartisan support for family planning has made Colorado a leader in reproductive health. The CDPHE Family Planning Program, the Title X program, provides comprehensive reproductive care to Coloradans at 80 clinics across the state, prioritizing those who are uninsured and have lower incomes. Between 2009 and 2020, the birth rate for females ages 15 to 19 in Colorado fell by 64%. What we're doing is working. Since the U.S. Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, communities across the country are experiencing a significant decrease in access to reproductive health care, including family planning services. And Colorado has stepped up to provide timely care for all who need it. By investing additional dollars into this proven program, Colorado can continue to improve maternal and infant health, avoid significant costs to Medicaid, and maintain the Title X program's success in decreasing unintended pregnancies.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of SJR 008. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader, Rich, Baisley, Will, Van Winkle, Simpson, Pelton R, Pelton B, Kirkmeyer, Smallwood, Priola. With a vote of 18 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, and 6 excused, SJR 008 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senators Roberts, Hanson, Mullica, Exum, Gonzalez, Mr. Majority Leader, Winter, Fields, Michelson Janae, Cutter, Henriksen, Sullivan, Colker, Zenzinger. Please add the president. Third reading of bills. Final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 99?
Senate Bill 99, Senators Pelton R. and Marchman, Representatives Winter T. and McLaughlin, concerning Public Employees Retirement Association limitations on employment after retirement for a service retiree employed by a rural school.
Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move SB 24099 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of SB 99. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle, Henriksen. With a vote of With a vote of 27 aye, 2 no, 0 absent, and 6 excused, Senate Bill 99 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Simpson, Exum, Kirkmeyer, Roberts, Pelton B, Will, Zenzinger, Rich, Mr. Minority Leader, Mullica, Winter, Fields, Cutter, Buckner, second reading of bills, general order, second reading of Mr. Majority Leader. 99. Okay. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 99.
The motion is reconsideration of Senate Bill 99. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted and reconsideration is granted. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move SB 24-099 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
The motion is the passage of Senate Bill 24099. Are there any? Please read the title of Senate Bill 99.
Senate Bill 99 by Senators Pelton, R. and Marchman, and Representatives Winter T. and McLaughlin concerning Public Employees Retirement Association limitations on employment after retirement for a service retiree employed by a rural school.
Any discussion? Senator Priola. Senator Marchman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move SB 2499 on third reading and final passage.
Senator Priola.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I apologize for having to reconsider this. I missed it. I'm going to be a no on 99. I don't want to go into the gory details as long as I have in the past. Senator Zinzinger will remember. But this goes back to policy that was put in place a number of years ago that I believe weakens para, which we have worked very hard to rectify in the state with Senate Bill 200 a number of years ago. I was actually asked to run the implementing legislation that started making it easier for rural folks to retire and then switch districts and work. And this is just another step in the wrong direction, in my opinion. So I know it's going to pass, and this is good for rural Colorado, but I fundamentally disagree with what it does to all para retirees and future retirees, so I'll be a no.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the passage of Senate Bill 99. Are there any no votes? Senators Priola, Henriksen, Smallwood, Van Winkle. With a vote of 25 ayes, 4 noes, 0 absent, and 6 excused, Senate Bill 99 is passed. Co-sponsors, Senators Roberts, Exum, Kirkmeyer, Mr. Minority Leader. Hold that thought. Feel free to relax your arms. I'll call for co-sponsors again. Technical issues. Unless you want to keep your hand up, Mr. Majority Leader. You good to go? All right, once again, co-sponsors for Senate Bill 99. Mr. Majority Leader, Senators Mullica, Fields, Buckner, Zinzinger, Kirkmeyer, Rich, Will, Simpson, Pelton B., Roberts, Winter, please add the President. General orders, second reading of bill, Senator Zinzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The Senate will resolve itself in Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills, and Senator Zinzinger will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the coat rule is relaxed for everyone. Will the clerk please read the Title II, Senate Bill 22?
Senate Bill 22, Senator Mullica and Representatives Brown and Velasco, concerning an expansion of the ability of a Board of County Commissioners to regulate tobacco products.
Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 22 and the Local Government Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is this appropriate time to talk about my experience serving on the Local Government and Housing Committee?
It would be.
That unique experience. No, it was a pleasure to serve on the committee. We did run an amendment in the committee that struck all distribution from the bill, which came from some of the stakeholding of the bill. We also struck pretty much the whole third page, which references a lot of definitions around flavors and whatnot that the stakeholders didn't want to see, and I would ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of, there is, Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was a unique experience because the Local Government and Housing Committee is wildly efficient and diligent in our work. I ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion on the committee report, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Mullica.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, when you look at, after the amendments that we ran in the Local Government Committee, the bill has been stripped down to really address the concern at hand, which is to make sure that we're being consistent in regards to the ability of localities, no matter if you're a county or a city, to regulate or prohibit the sale of tobacco products. I think the vast majority of the opinions out there is that current statute states that if you're a city or a county that you do have this ability and that ability falls within the term regulate. I think there's a small minority opinion that believes that regulate doesn't include prohibit, and so with the intent of that, and I think with what we've already seen from some of our municipalities, we want to make sure that when a county or a city wants to do this, that we are consistent across the board and that every city and county has the same tools in their toolbox to deal with this. And really what Senate Bill 22 does is make sure that we have that consistency and that doesn't leave any room for interpretation in regards to being able to prohibit these products. We've seen municipalities already do this, but we have heard from several counties that they don't feel like they have the ability based on what the current language is. I think there's a lot of folks who feel like they do, but what Senate Bill 22 does is it just makes it explicitly clear. It's literally 4 lines and states that they have that ability to prohibit. And so I want to be clear with this bill. We're not telling anyone to do that. We're not requiring anyone to do that. It's a tool in their toolbox, and it's consistent. And that's what we're trying to do. And I think that's good governance to make sure that we are consistent in regards to the tools that we give our local governments to do things like this. And so I would ask for a yes vote.
Minority Leader Lundin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I thank the good senator from Thornton for his efforts on this bill, speaking to Senate Bill 22. Getting perfect alignment among municipalities, counties, state, and ultimately federal laws is always a bit of a challenge. And then we had this really unique circumstance here. We had a circumstance where different attorneys interpreted the law differently. Go figure. I don't think that's ever happened before. And so there's an effort to make sure that it's all aligned, that in fact what the bulk of the county attorneys are saying they have the authority to do, that in fact everybody understands they have the authority to do, which is to regulate. The current statute uses the word regulate, and I'm looking at the pre-amended bill here, Senate 22, which includes the amendments that came from the committee. And Regulate is a big set, and inside regulate you can do any number of things. And the current statute sets up that big set. It says the municipalities and counties also may regulate. That's section 1 of this very limited bill's large I. Section 2, Roman numeral 2, is about limiting smoking as defined in the Colorado Clean Indoor Air Act. Or sub 3 is about licensing or otherwise regulating the sale of cigarettes. But then the challenging section here is in section 4. It introduces a subset of regulation that doesn't exist in the statute as currently the statute exists. In this new subset, it creates and introduces a new word into the conversation, prohibit. It says prohibit the sale of any or all cigarettes, tobacco products, nicotine products, including prohibiting the sale of, and the committee added sale of any or all, to make it even broader, quite frankly, the sale of any or all flavored cigarettes, flavored tobacco products, or flavored nicotine products. So we go from this broad subset in an effort, or broad set in an effort to create clarity and interpretation among the various lawyers and to catch the couple of counties where the county attorneys are saying, no, we don't believe that gives us permission, to make it clear, and we go beyond making clear you may regulate. In fact, we extend this idea and introduce into the statute a new word, prohibit. And that creates discomfort for many of the people that are in this business. As you know, I'm always a business advocate. The concept of free markets is incredibly important to me. Free markets, even in products that I don't particularly partake in, still should remain free markets. And so toward that end, I would offer an extension of the conversation and return us back to the place where we're saying, let's honor the Colorado Clean Indoor Air Act, and let's honor this word of regulate, and let's not introduce this additional subset word of prohibit into the statute.
There is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L003?
L003, amend the local government and
Minority
housing.
Leader Lundin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I move Amendment L003, and it is as I just described, I believe. It would strike this section that adds language that is offending. It is a subset. It is narrower. It is a difference and a differentiation from what exists in the law currently. Would still allow for the cleanup of interpretation, which makes sure that all counties understand that, in fact, you have the ability to regulate. It just doesn't plant the seed of, push the idea of, expand the concept of prohibition, as the bill without this amendment would do. So I urge your support of Amendment L003.
Senator Malika.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the Minority Leader for engaging on this. Members, I think obviously my opening statements, talking to you about the intent of this bill and what we're trying to accomplish here, which is making sure that we're not leaving room for interpretation, making sure that we are trying to be consistent in regards to the tools that our localities have around these products. And Amendment L003 takes away from that. I think that the word prohibit is the issue at question here. And that's what we've heard from several of our counties. Now, I will agree with the Minority Leader that there is a difference of interpretation, and we see that in law. But I think that our job as policymakers and lawmakers is to do all that we can to limit that interpretation so that we can be clear as day in what these localities have the ability to do. And like I said, the vast majority of these localities feel like they have this ability already. Some don't, though. And I think that when we look at that, I think that when we get that brought to us, it's our job to make sure that we make it clear. And that's what Senate Bill 22 does, but Amendment L003 really kind of just puts us back to square one. And so I would ask for a no vote.
Minority Leader Lundin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And that is exactly what I am asking that we do. Let's make sure that we don't introduce new concepts, but we leave the existing concepts that persist in law. Let's honor the Colorado Clean Indoor Air Act. Let's vote in support of Amendment L003.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Amendment L003. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The noes have it, and the amendment is lost. Senator Malika.
Okay, please do.
Senator Malika.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to hand.
There's an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L002?
L002, amend printed bill, page 2, line 15, after
Senator
the...
Malika.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the theme of what we are trying to accomplish in Senate Bill 22, I move Amendment L002.
To the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What this bill does is, this amendment does is it's relatively simple. It just inserts the word retail to ensure that we are crystal clear again of what these localities have the ability to regulate or prohibit, and have it be at the retail level and not necessarily at the distribution or the wholesale level, which is a concern that we heard from some of the stakeholding that we did. And so again, I think L002 is really goes to what we are trying to do, which is to make sure that this piece of our statute is crystal clear on what these localities have the ability to do. And I would ask for a yes vote.
Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of Amendment L002 in this effort to kind of carve this broad expansion that the bill has created down a little bit. This amendment moves in the right direction, in my opinion. It doesn't give us the actual free unfettered market. It doesn't give us, I believe, any additional clarity in the statute as I would have preferred to have established with the previous amendment. This is a good amendment, and do want to rise in support of Amendment L002.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Amendment L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. Seeing no further discussion, Minority Leader Lundin.
Thank you very much. Because of the prior language, because of the fundamental arguments I was making on Amendment L003, I find that I will not be able to support Senate Bill 022. I think it creates restrictions unnecessarily so. It takes what is in the statute, in my opinion, and quite frankly, the opinion of almost all the counties across the state, and it muddies it. It introduces a new concept in a way that is intrusive and excessive, and I will be a no vote on Senate 022. Thank you, and appreciate the sponsor for bringing the bill, but can't be with you this time, Senator.
Senator Malika.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the Minority Leader for those words. Members, this is a good bill. It's good governance. It's making sure that we're being clear to our localities so that we're not leaving room for interpretation and questions for them on the tools that they have. And, you know, this is an important thing that I think a lot of these localities are looking at and policy are looking at. And so I think it's our job as the lawmakers to make sure that we're sending the most consistent laws to them and the most consistent regulations. And so really appreciate your time, and I would ask for a yes vote.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 22. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Majority Leader Rodriguez. Will the clerk please read Senate Bill 103?
Senate Bill 103 by Senators Pelton, B. and Janal, and Representative McLaughlin concerning technical changes to Colorado Department of Labor and Employment statutes.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over Senate Bill 103 till Tuesday, February 20th.
The motion is to lay over Senate Bill 103 until Tuesday, February 20th. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill will be laid over. Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we will rise and report.
Senate will come to order. Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your committee has met and had one bill under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
February 16, 2024, Mr. President, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 22 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 103, laid over until February 20th, 2024, and retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
The motion is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Are there any no votes? Senators Van Winkle. With a vote of 28 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 6 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 22 is amended, passed in second reading, ordered engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 103 laid over until 220 and retaining its place on the calendar. Consideration of governor's appointments. Consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Underground Damage Prevention Safety Commission for terms expiring January 1, 2027. Christopher Camblin of Holyoke, Colorado, to serve as a representative of Rural Electric Cooperatives appointed. Carl Christian of Fountain, Colorado, to serve as a representative of Special Districts appointed. Natalie Donovan Flores of Silverthorne, Colorado, to serve as a representative of Investor-Owned Utilities appointed. Mitchell Pebley of Centennial, Colorado, to serve as a representative of Pipeline Companies appointed.
Majority Leader Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which include members of the Underground Damage Prevention Safety Commission, Christopher Camlin of Holyoke, Colorado, Carl Christensen of Fountain, Colorado, Natalie Donovan Flores of Silverthorne, Colorado, Mitchell Pebley of Centennial, Colorado.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With 29 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 6 excused, the appointments are confirmed. Signing of bills.
February 15, 2024, the President signed House Bills 1020, 1090, 1146, and 1179. House Joint Resolutions 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 1011, 1012, 1013, 1014, 1015, 1016.
Announcements. Senator Gonzalez.
Actually, go ahead first.
Senator Pelton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Where we won't be here Monday when I usually announce this, I'll announce it now, but next Tuesday morning, we will have Bible study down in 109. Come feed your bellies and then feed your soul.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, you may remember that a couple of weeks ago I came here to the well, or a couple of days ago, I came here to the well to express my frustration with the Department of Local Affairs for not yet having its rental assistance portal unlocked. And I am proud to be able to report to you all today that we've had a number of productive meetings, that we've had significant discussion, that not only have they been able to sign contracts with 5 different providers across the state, but that yesterday the statewide portal to be able to support Colorado renters with a temporary rental assistance grant initiative, that is now live as of yesterday. And as of yesterday at 6:30 p.m., there were already 1,092 applications submitted, meaning this portal was launched yesterday, and within hours, over 1,000 Coloradans had already reached out to ask for help. I'm both grateful to the organizations on the ground doing the work to support Coloradans who are trying to stay housed, but I also want folks to know that there are millions of dollars of assistance there ready. And so if you have questions, I want to invite you all to go to the web portal. You can find it at dola.colorado.gov, and you can log in there to begin an application. There are a lot of folks out there who need support, and so I would encourage all of you members to put this information in your newsletters, to let folks know that this assistance is available. I'm grateful to the department for putting, for finally, for getting this out. We're grateful for that. And now to the Coloradans who need help to stay housed, the help is here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Will.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a brief moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to point out that this is Perry Will Friday, and check your Instagram accounts.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I am pleased to know that Senator Will has a Instagram account. I can't wait to check it out. But, members, I do have an announcement for you. I am pleased to chair the task force on the consideration of facial recognition services. We cover a number of topics related to AI and facial recognition. We have our February meeting today at 2 o'clock. For anyone that's interested, we're going to be talking about suggested updates to current statutes around the use of facial recognition technology. Appreciate this body's support last year of getting this task force in place. We'll also be talking about other AI-related legislation. So love to see you at 2 o'clock in Senate Committee Room 357.
Senator Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have a moment of personal privilege?
Granted.
Today is the 604th Friday since my son Alex was murdered in the Aurora Theater Massacre, along with 11 others, on July 20th, 2012, Alex's 27th birthday. While you became aware of the mass shooting during the celebration parade, I ask that you remember that there was no mention of the other 132 who died from gun violence in our country that same day. And the 10 injured were just a small slice of the over 230 who were also injured in an incident involving a gun. It's not mass shootings and assault weapons that make up the public health crisis that is gun violence. Don't believe that narrative. Be a part of the change. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further announcements. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate adjourn until 10 a.m. Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Colleagues, remember we will be starting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Have a great weekend.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will adjourn until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 20th.